What's up, everyone? It is your girl Beaute87 here, aka Grass, and I'm sporting my Fenty hat here that I got in my Fenty collection that I bought. Well, I'm sorry, all the Fenty products that I bought. So I got all these foundations and stuff in here to talk about. So let's get into it. So foundations, concealers, primers, powders, setting spray. So this is about to be a long one. I hope you brought a drink or a snack or something, because we're gonna be here for at least 20 minutes, girl, with all of whatever this is. Anyway, so let's get into this primer. So I'm gonna start off with the Power Grip Niacinamide, sorry, plus 4% now cyanamide from ELF. I didn't necessarily see a huge difference when it came to my skin with the niacinamide that's supposed to be in here. I feel like it's just as priming as the other one. So I mean, if you use it for a consistent basis, you'll probably see a difference, but you have to remember how many things I have to test out and try. Like I still had to test out the Glow recipe, and I'm still testing out the Dior and the Gucci. So it's like I didn't use this one as consistently as I would like to. So I'll probably bring this back in a future one like I do with some other things, just to talk about my thoughts and if they change, just because I didn't get to use it as nearly as much as I wanted to, because I was reaching for other things, because I was used to using this formula, so I couldn't test out the niacinamide properties and let you know about that whole aspect of it. But it is just as good as the other one as far as the way it works as a primer. I just can't speak to the skincare benefits that are involved in it, so you'll see this in the future again. The next one I have to talk about though is the Glow Recipe Strawberry BHA Pore Smooth Blur Drops Serum. Honey, I love these. I'll use these in the daytime when I put on my makeup, and then at night when I go to bed, I'll use the actual overnight one, and I feel like it does a great job with the pores and the smoothing property that it gives to the skin when I put my makeup on for the next day, along with using this primer again. So I absolutely love these. This is going to be another Sephora VIB recommendations for the video, just FYI. Ooh, it wanted to go back in the bag. It was tired of staring at it. No, but like, I definitely recommend it, because honey, yes, I love it. I love this one and the Cali Ray one the most. I like the Glowish one as well, okay, but it's like, I feel like this one and the Cali Ray are neck and neck, and then the Glowish is like underneath them. So just in case anybody cared, this is definitely gonna be a recommendation for the Sephora VIB sale. I will be filming that next Friday, right before the sale comes. I'm trying to, you know, give myself a little bit of grace and not be trying to jump in and do much crazy stuff. I'm trying to make this sure there's no more primer in here before I get into these foundations, because I got a few foundations. Y'all know I got a few concealers. Honey, it's 4 foundations in here, 5 concealers, 2 setting powders, and a setting spray. I feel like y'all know what setting spray it is, obviously, but let's get into it. So we're gonna start off with this KVD Vegan Beauty, or sorry, KVD Good Apple, what is this, serum foundation? Yeah, full coverage serum foundation. I wear the shade 10074. When I first put it on, it looks kind of crazy, but it ends up warming up to the skin and blending in nicely. So this is the shade I normally use. I don't know if they added more shades, and that's why it looked a little off when I first put it on, because usually it looks fine. And the funny thing is, Tina the Fancy Face wears shade 074 as a general rule too, and I feel like we shouldn't be wearing the same shade, because Tina is lighter than I am, but it both works for us, so I don't know. Random side note, I think she bought a lighter shade in this foundation though, if I remember correctly when I watched her video using it. But I would say I like this foundation. I do like it better than the original one that came out with. The original one works just fine for me though, but I told you I had found a technique in the way I put it on that made it work for me, even though it was like quite thick and emollient, so it wasn't necessarily good for people with my skin. It was more for people with dry skin, but I can use either or and be fine. So I would recommend this for the sale if you wanted to try it out, but I would have recommended that you picked it up during their friends and family sale if you are a VIB or if you are an insider, because you got a better deal from their website on this as well as the Magic Concealer, or if you just want to try the original one. So, but if you're going to get it at Sephora, I would say go ahead and get it during the sale. You only miss it out on 5% if you rouge. But I really liked the formula on this. It went on the skin nicely. It looked like skin. It didn't like clog my pores or get oily too quick once I used my new setting spray technique that I told y'all about, because I think I started using it around the time I got this foundation into use, and then I finally showed you all once I got the Diypansy concealer in that video. So I definitely think that you would like this foundation if you have oily combination skin. I think you might like it if you have normal skin as well. Now if you have dry skin, I don't know that you'd necessarily be a fan of this, because I feel like it does hold oil away pretty well, and since you don't have any oil, that's not necessarily an issue that you have to deal with. You might want to go with the original one if you have normal or dry skin. That's just my personal opinion, but to each his own. But it gives good coverage, it feels nice on the skin, and it holds on pretty well throughout the day with the techniques I use for my makeup routine. Okay, the next one I have to talk about is this Laura Mercier Real Flawless Weightless Perfecting Foundation in the shade 5N2 Cardamom. I usually get the shade Pecan, but I swatched this one in store, and I picked this one online, and then when I swatched it in store, it looked pretty good, so I went ahead and just kept it. My thing about this foundation is I like the way it looks on the skin. I just don't like the lack of coverage. I just saw Andre Renee do I think a reel on this or a TikTok on this recently, and I don't know, like I said, the coverage just isn't giving for me. That's my problem with this. It's not the formula, it's the lack of coverage. Because I thought this was supposed to be medium buildable, but in my personal opinion, I don't feel like it's buildable. Like, I feel like it's medium and that's it. Like, it's not going to go any further. You're going to have to depend on your concealer to get it to be full. But you have to think about all the dark spots I have on my cheek areas and the hyperpigmentation I try to cover up when sometimes I don't feel like putting on color corrector. So I feel like that might be why I don't necessarily like it. If you don't have the dark spots like I have on my cheeks here, or a lot of hyperpigmentation, then you might like this a little bit better. The only thing is, good luck finding the shade. I feel like the deeper shades are definitely lacking in that foundation, whereas in other foundations I have that I feel like the shade range is better. But in all fairness, I feel like a lot of people aren't checking for this brand, so that might be why they didn't make that many deeper shades. Not trying to defend them, it's just realistically, how often do you really hear us talk about Laura Mercier? Besides her powder, I have stopped hearing people talk about the concealer that she had, the brightening, the secret brightening thing or whatever. I don't hear people talking about that. So I only hear people really talking about her powder and her blushes. I don't really hear them talk about anything else. So it's like, that might be why she didn't like invest in too many shades, because it's like the hype is with her other products and not necessarily when she does complexion things. So that might just be something to keep in mind. I'm not gonna necessarily say I recommend this. If you don't mind having a medium coverage foundation, it looks really nice on the skin and it does look like skin, I would definitely give it that. It's just the lack of shade range might not be appealing to you, aside from the fact that it's just not gonna build to full like I feel like they try to imply it does. That's just my personal opinion. So I like it for its formula and the way it looks on the skin, but the fact that I have to zhuzh and add concealer and lots of other things to get the coverage I want is where it's lacking for me. So I'm not gonna just be out here like, yes girl, buy it, do that. Like, if you want to try it during the sale, then I'd say I guess go ahead, but just don't expect it to build to full coverage like, you know, they say it does. It says medium buildable, and I respectfully disagree. Okay, next I have the Gucci 24-hour wearable foundation luminous matte finish. I have the shade 410N. If you all remember, I wear the shade 410W and the, I think it's the satin finish one. It's either satin finish or natural finish, and in this one I had to get neutral, because if I remember correctly, they didn't have any of the warm shades in this one. They only had neutral, so that's what I had to work with. I like this foundation though. I feel like it looks nice on the skin. It does do that luminous matte thing, so to me that means like it feels like it's supposed to look like your skin when it's kind of like in a healthy, somewhat dewy state, but it's still matte on the skin for people like me with oily skin. So I actually like this better than the original. At first I thought I was gonna like the original better than this one, but when I did a side by side, I liked this one better. Now I can't say I necessarily like the color of this one better. I feel like it takes longer for this one to warm into the skin, and it gives a little bit more of that yellowy orangey twinge vibe that I don't necessarily like, that comes with luxury brands when they try to make foundation for my skin tone, like with the Dior one. I tell y'all, whenever I get the Dior one, I know I'm gonna have to pull out that yellow like corrector in order to make it work, because it's like I'm gonna look crazy otherwise. I don't know what is up with them and always making these foundations look really orange when it comes to the luxury brands, but they always seem to have that problem. So just bear that in mind with this. So you might want to put a little bit of drop of yellow in there if you have a golden undertone like I do, because otherwise you might be looking a little bit crazy. Unless you can like fix it with powder and concealer and get it to the color you like, then it'll be fine. But I like the formula on it, and I like it well enough to recommend it, especially during the sale, because honey, it's gonna be expensive just because it's Gucci. So get it during the sale, girl, if you can. I'm gonna say that again when, you know, I do my recommendations video, but you know, I'm just telling you now and here. And hopefully this goes up before the sale, or else I'm not giving you, you know, useless information like I be doing in lots of videos. I'll be sorry, but like when I know about something, I'll be eager to share it. And then I'll be having backlogs till July of pre-made videos and having to constantly move because a new thing is coming out. So I don't be doing it to tease or like, you know, troll or be a jerk or anything. It's just like, I don't know when the video is gonna go up, and on the off chance it does go up when the sale comes, I can, you know, tell you about it. So I tried to. Okay, next foundation. So I have the Burberry Beyond Wear Perfecting Matte in the shade 120 Deep Warm. The sad thing is I think it's only one shade. It's 1 or 2 shades darker than this one, and y'all saw how crazy I looked in this one. Like, this one was worse than the Gucci and the Dior. Like, oh my god, one of y'all said it looked like I put yellow mustard on my face and I died. I was like, I can't with you. But like, it wasn't giving the best shade, and the fact that this was supposed to be like the closest to the darkest shade, so I'm like, I'm wondering if the darkest shade would have been better on me. But it's like, I just picked this one because I feel like this one would work pretty well according to their swatches. But 100 day swatches was teasing me and like playing games and lying, child, because this I had to do some working with. If you all remember, I had to use a deeper setting powder just to make this work. Then all the technology they talked about in this foundation had me laughing in my mind when I was reading it. I'm like, are they really up here saying that they put some special technology in here that they put in their coat to keep it water resistant and all this other type of stuff? I was like, child, it wasn't resistant. I'm getting on my sweater when I did the tutorial for this. So like, what is this resistance you speak of? Child. But no, so I actually really like the formula on this. It's just more of, again, it's like the Laura Mercier, like your shade range is not, it's not giving. And I think I said at the end of this video when I did the video, like the shade range was lacking. I really thought it was like 2 or 3 of them, so it wasn't as bad as like just there being one more. But when I went to check, it was literally, I think, like one more. When I looked at the website, I was just like, ooh. So there's only one more person darker than me that can wear this. I think it was dark enough for like maybe Shayna or Too Much Mouth and Coco swatches, but otherwise I don't think they had any shades that were deeper than that. And I was just like, ooh, this not looking, it's not looking good for you. It's just But it is a really nice foundation. My only thing is, the problem is, since you can't buy it at Sephora and then you don't know how the shades are actually gonna look in real life when you get them, it's just kind of like, I don't know that I necessarily want to recommend this, aside from the fact that, like, besides me, only one other person looks like me can wear it. And it's like, for the price you charge, and I think this was $60, like, should I really be telling you to do that when you can get the Gucci one and you know you can find a shade in it? When you can get the Dior one and you know you can find a shade in it? When you can get the Valentino one and know you can find a shade in it? Why can't everybody do something that they can't do and I'm supposed to be excited to tell you to go get it? Because it is a nice formula and it does look nice on my skin. You all told me that after I had fixed and finangled. But again, I got to fix and finagle, and then you don't have enough shades for everybody. So it's like, do I really want to, you know what I'm saying? So I like the formula, but I'm just not willing to recommend it because you out here lacking in shades or whatever. But you know, yeah. Let's get into some concealers now. So I'm gonna start off with the bougiest, expensivest one, and then we're gonna work our way down. So let's get into it. Oh no, this one is more than that. So of course y'all know I got this Tom Ford. What is this? I think it's Traceless foundation. Yeah, the Traceless Soft Matte Concealer. I wear the shade 5WO Tan, so it's 5 Warm Olive Tan. That's the shade I like to get in his concealers. I feel like they look really nice. As you can see, I've been using it a little bit. So I like the concealer. It's just more of, I feel like I need to put a concealer on top. But they say you're supposed to put a cream underneath and then you put a liquid on top. So I can see myself doing that, and I have been doing that with this. Like, I'll put the cream one on top of this one. What is it? Y'all know, like the sorry, I put the liquid one on top of this. You know, the liquid illuminating one that what's that girl's name? Morgan Turner was raving about a while ago, that she's telling everybody needed to get, and then people find in the company cosmetics store and they bought it. Like, I was all about that concealer. I still like that concealer. So what I'll do is I'll put this underneath. I'll do like an underpainting thing where I put this concealer underneath and I put my foundation on, and then I'll put like the illuminating one on top when I go to put on my cream, bronzer, and all that other stuff, while I let the concealer sit and wait. So I like it for that purpose, but I just feel like this is an expensive product for that purpose. Now, if you want to be bougie and have it as an expensive product for that purpose, y'all saw how gorgeous it looked because I tried this with that Burberry foundation, and I'm not even front, my face was looking immaculate. It was looking wonderful. It was looking like all the wonderfulness that there is. But I mean, like, I just don't think this is worth $60. Wait to see if you can find this as a company cosmetic store when they move it out. But I don't think it's worth $60. I'm sorry, it's just not worth $60 to me. Now, I think it's wonderful, and I would actually tell you to pay the regular price for the cream one because I feel like that one is worth it. I just don't feel like that one is worth it. I feel like for the little amount of product that you get in a little bitty container, and then the fact I still need to put something else on top of it to get like a full concealing glam situation that I want, is not worth it. If you're not looking for cool coverage and you like a nice luminous soft matte look underneath the eye, kind of like what I got going on now, then I feel like you would really like that concealer and it'd be worth it to you. But if that's not what you're looking for, if you like me and you're trying to cover these dark circles and you know, you don't want the designer bag showing underneath the eyes, you want to cover them up for whatever reason, then I feel like you're not gonna like that concealer, because it's not giving what needs to be given for the price point that they're charging. So don't buy it, sis. Don't free yourself of that Tom Ford concealer and don't waste your coins on it. Next, I have the Diypansy Prima Libre Skin Caring Concealer. I have the shade N405. I'm planning on getting a lighter shade once I use this up, because I do like it enough to get a lighter shade. But for right now, we're going to work with the shade we got, because I was too lazy to take it back to the store and reorder again. So I was like, we're just going to work with what we got. So this is a nice concealer. I feel like it's a little thick in consistency, so it will go a long way. Don't do it the way I normally do with the triangles underneath the eyes. But I told y'all 5 things from old school YouTube I wasn't letting go was that. But I've told you all before in videos, the reason I do that is because I have these dark spots on my cheek. A lot of times I feel like the foundations I use don't always give me the coverage that I want there, and I don't always want to try to use the soft matte part from Nars to conceal those areas and then go over foundation and then have to put concealer underneath the eyes. So I'd rather just skip that extra step and put the concealer the way I do. So that's why I still do the triangle. I don't know if people remember me saying that in videos, but that's why I do it, because I know a lot of people are like, you're not supposed to do it like that anymore, you're supposed to do the 1 2 3 dot or whatever. You do all that. We don't do that over here. Over right here, over here, we don't do that. And I just told y'all why. But back to this concealer. It looks nice underneath the skin. I do have another one I like a little bit better though, so I'm not necessarily going to say I recommend this one for you. If you want a little bit more coverage than the one I'm going to talk about after this one though, then you might want to go ahead and get this one. To me, it was just hard picking a shade online with this, and since Diypansy isn't in my store, it wasn't easy for me to pick a shade. But like I said, I still like it well enough to recommend it, especially during the sale. So if you want to get it, I'd say get it during the sale. It's just just double check on shades prior to doing it. Maybe you can use the test thing where it shows the shade on your skin or whatever, because I know they do that on some websites. So maybe you can do it on another website and then come back and buy it from Sephora, whatever shade you find that you feel like looks best on you. But I like it okay. I'm not crazy about it, but you know, it's nice. The one I like over it, of course, is my Valentino. What is this? Very Valentino concealer. It had a longer name, but on all the packaging it just says Very Valentino. I have the shade DA2. I'm glad I picked this one because I seen another shade that was a little bit deeper, and I'm glad I got this one because I like the color of this. This one is a little bit sheer though, so it's one of those where like I would put the Tom Ford underneath ahead of time and then put this on top, because I feel like it blends away really nicely into it, because it has a thin formula. It blends away into nothing unless you're gonna like let it sit for a good little while and then pat it out. But I really like this concealer. I like it alongside its foundation and other foundations. I've been trying to branch out and test things with other foundations other than the ones that are from the same brand, but I always feel like it's best to use it with the one that comes with the brand, because obviously they're made to be used together, hopefully, and then you don't have to worry about if it's going to work the way you expect it to work or not. So that's personally why I like to use it with the foundation it came with starting off with. It's rare that I use them with other foundations and videos unless a foundation is dropped in. Like in this video, I think I ended up having to use another foundation because I think I used the Tom Ford foundation or something, or I don't know what foundation I used. I know I used another foundation. No, it might have been the Laura Mercier because they had just dropped. No, I used the Laura Mercier with the Givenchy one. No, I used this one with the Burberry one. That's what it was, I think. So that way I could try them out and see how it works. But I really like this concealer. This is the one I would recommend during the sale. Not necessarily Givenchy, but I would recommend this one. Just don't expect to get a super a heavy amount of coverage, or should I say a super full coverage type look. It's not going to give that, but I still feel like it gives a decent amount of coverage. And for someone like me who doesn't get enough sleep, if I'm still willing to use it, then I think, you know, you should be okay, especially if you get the normal amount of sleep you're supposed to get, girl. So next one I have is the Mented Full-Time Brightening Concealer. I have the shade CEO. Is what the color looks like. I wish I got a little, well no, this isn't the one I wish I got a little bit of lighter shade of. We already talked about that, Givenchy. And the one I'm going to talk about after this, I wish I had a little bit of a lighter shade, but when I went in the store, I had to grab what they had in order to get the video up for y'all. But I have waited for this brand to come out with this concealer forever. Me and a lot of their other followers had asked them to come out with it because they have stick foundations that they say you can use as a multi-stick, so you can use it underneath the eyes and all that. And we like, yeah, that's cute, but we asked you for a cream concealer, so like, I mean a liquid concealer, so like, where is it? So they finally came out with it this year, and I'm super excited. I was using the crap out of it, but I brought it here just so I could film this video for you all and talk about it. But I love this concealer. Like, oh my goodness, I can't wait for this to, I don't know if this is gonna drop at Ulta or not, but if it does, girl, go grab it. This stuff is amazing. It has that brightening effect to it, kind of like the lip bar one does. So if that runs out at Walmart and you can't go ahead and get it, hopefully you'll be able to go into what do you call it, Ulta, and get this. Plus I feel like this gives a little bit more coverage than the lip bar one, just from what I remember. And then it goes gorgeous with that foundation stick, which I used to love to use, and their powder. So they just have a whole bunch of great products, and I'm loving the fact that they finally gave me the concealer I wanted. So I will be using this a lot, and probably have to repurchase it, because as you can see, I have used it quite a bit already, and it hasn't even been out that long. But I literally used this for like 2 weeks straight once, and I had to make myself use the other concealers, because obviously I have to fill these complexion corners for you to give you updates on if I've changed my mind on things or not. But honey, let me have not had to film a video, I'd have probably still been using it now and switching between it and this other one I'm about to talk about, which is crazy because both of them are more on the affordable side, and you think I'd be more excited to use more expensive stuff. But no, honey, the Thread Cover It multi-use complexion fluid I have in the shade 07 medium gold brown. So when I looked online, they have different shade names for different ones, which kind of confused me. And as you can see, this one's a little bit too close to my skin tone for my liking, so this is the one I meant that I wanted to get a lighter shade with. However, they didn't have it in store, and it was hard to find shades, and so they barely had any shades in the store that I went to. They had lighter ones, a couple of medium ones, and then like a couple of deeper ones. So like I grabbed what I could, and this was the best one I could choose from what they had in store. But this is stunning. This goes on so smoothly and creamy. It's lightweight, but it still gives a decent amount of coverage. I would definitely recommend this, and the price point is perfect. Like, this is under $10. So if you got this in the foundation stick, which by the way, I'm about to buy me another foundation stick. Mine is like completely gone. I have like this much product, so I love the Thread Beauty products, and this is just another one to add to my collection that I absolutely love. Let me go change the battery, and girl, no, we still not done yet. I still got like these powders and this milk setting spray to talk about, because I told y'all in listening that I wasn't necessarily crazy about it, but I have somewhat different thoughts. Not 100% has changed, but you know, we've made a little bit of a change of how we feel about it. So I'm gonna go off camera and get another battery, and then I'll come back and we'll talk about that. Okay, girl?